Well, it's starting to get cold, guys. I'm cold. I'm in the Totally Awesome workshop, and I've had a bit of a tidy up. I couldn't let you guys see it. It was in a terrible state all through the summer and the autumn, different jobs, and you know, I'm going out fishing, I'm doing property work. I just haven't time to tidy it up because now weather's on the change, want to get inside. So, a few little jobs to do. Two today, two. One, I want to repair the Totally Awesome ancient antique net. So this one is about the right size. I've had some big carp in this. I've never had a 20 pounder in there, well you wouldn't be surprised with that. Of course we got carp nets, but you just want an average one because I don't go out fishing for great big, you know, 20, 25 pound carp. If they come along, great. If they don't, it's no problem. Anyway, I keep doing two things, guys. You extend the pole, I've done this, get a big fish and you lift too soon. If you lift too soon, you put a little bow in it inside. And this is one of those twist lock ones. So it's really stiff. I've pulled this out, re-straightened it and tried to re-straighten the tube, but it just wants to be 3 millimeters out of kilter on the shaft going in there, and it sticks. I can get it to work, but there we go. And of course, if I put oil on it, which I do sometimes, the grit sticks to it. That makes it lovely, and your fingers are black. But what I do also by lifting bigger fish out is these arms go. And I've noticed this one's gone again. Just show you in close up there, look. Now people would throw that away, wouldn't they? They would throw that away. So I'm going to buy a new net, What? Buy a new net? There's nothing wrong with this one. Now here, I have glued it. I'll show you what I've done. So I know this is an easy fix, but I feel it's got to be done. So you can see there, it would normally, when it was manufactured, slot in there, and it had a pin on the other side, just here. But that's gone, it's sheared off inside, you know, so I've had to re-drill it, make a hole through there, but I've drilled into here, into the shaft bit. I've sawn off the rubbishy bit. I'm going to push that in. The hole here will line up with that one, and I can glue it, but I'm just going to basically wiggle that in there and go through the screw box and find the right size. Well, we used to call them PKs, or self-tapping screw, that should do the job of holding that together. So, all for beginners. It's up to you if you want to go and buy a new, no problem at all. There's an old, I'm going to call that just a regular old wood screw. And the thread comes up here and then the rest is smooth. But with self-tappers, or, you know, what we used to call them PKs, what do they call them nowadays? It has a sort of wider thread, but it goes all the way up. So one of these is going to fit, hopefully, in there. Not too big. Something probably round about that size. It's only holding that shaft into the slot there. That's all it's holding. What you can do is a little squidge of super glue in there. Don't get it on your fingers. Find the gel super glue. It's quite good. It doesn't drip and run quite so badly. And then screw it in quite quickly. And that should... Oh, let's get that in first. That's in. That should hold, no question at all. Okay, all I do then is I extend this. Sometimes you'll see a bit of a curve. Now I can probably just bend that a bit so it's a bit straighter. Take it out. Yeah, it's loose already. But I find you can either get a bit of emery paper and go down this shaft, which would have been black paint, but I've had it so long, you can see, stripped all the paint off it. Just wipe any bits of grit or anything off there so it's smooth. Still feel the oil down the bottom from last year. Bits of mud. Don't often have it fully extended, it's only on high banks. And then a little bit of this stuff, a little bit of silicone lube. Obviously, you can use oil if you want, but this stuff I use up my garage doors and stuff like that. Nylon curtain glides. I find that it just ease it up and down. It doesn't draw the grit like oil. There we go. And again, if that goes down, oh my God. Still stiff there because there's still a bow. That's the general area where I'd lift the big fish. Obviously, look, I don't go, ooh, like this, do I? I net the fish and lift it in, but obviously at some stages you do get heavier fish and might lift it at not the right angle. So there we are, I can get it in and out. A couple of little simple jobs there, saved me buying a new net, it can be used again. Next job, going to try and make a pike lure from some cutlery. Now, over here somewhere, I did actually, might be in here, keep, that's the ones, So these, ancient cutlery, probably my mum's. Who knows, all you young children out there, what do you think that is? A tin opener, bottle opener and a corkscrew. In olden times we used to have these. Uncle Graham's still has them. Okay, we've got different shaped spoons and I've got some really, well not many, one left. I keep using these. I love the steel in these old knives and I guess that's a bone handle there. So I'm looking at cutlery that I can probably cut up. I want one that's fairly shiny. That one's a good one. These are all clean up anyway. You can see these what they call EPNS. It's electroplated nickel silver generally, and it will tell you on the back. Some will just be ordinary steel, but EPNS that's like a regular steel one. More shiny. I'm going to go for that one, I think, size wise. Don't think I've ever made one from a fork. I've got a big size tablespoon there. I've got a soup spoon, and I have to say, although I've made lures from these before, I haven't made them from a soup spoon. So this one is going to be a bit of a first. What I'm going to do I do two soup spoons? I'm not sure the shape of those. I know this one does, so I'm going to cut one of these two. I'm going to cut across the shaft just here on those, and just leave a little baby tag in there that I can drill a hole through. So we get these cut off first. Save the others. And a few busted teeth on it. Let's try this one. Done. I think even using the shaft of that, if I put a bigger bend in it, might be able to make something out of those as well. Let's do the other spoons. So we got 4 potential spoons here and 4 potential handle lures there. What I've got to do now is file off and just round these corners off with a file. The weather outside today is a horror story. Wind, rain, it's about the 3rd day in a row that we've had it. Just no fishing at all. Well, listen, anybody can go fishing anytime, anywhere. I'm not. I can't hold the bowl of the soup spoon too tight in the vise because it's going to crush the shape. I don't want to alter that shape. Be interested to see how this action on this one works. Well, I've done the spoons, but looking at the handles there, I'm just wondering I might be better off just to round them off and smooth them rather than grind away manually with a file. I'll put it on the grinding wheel. Why didn't I think of that? But I'm not going to just use, I'll try it with my fingers, just do it carefully, but if not, I can clamp it in a pair of mole grips. Just give me a bit of extra strength. next is... Sorry. Right, next is going to be drilling the holes. I'm going to fire over the pillar drill, pop a few holes in them. Workshop, it's getting cold out there. Going to use the pool table here, and fingers crossed I can show you how I'm going to put this lure together. Going to start with a big tablespoon first. Okay, I've got my C-rigs here on my box, basically because it's got some beads in there. You're going to need some beads for this blade to spin. So what we're going to start with is some very thin single strand wire. I think if I recall correctly, we use this Barracuda fishing, it might be a number 4 wire. The swivel I'm going to be using is a number 10. Can you see that there? Probably this camera won't focus it. So the swivel I'm going to be using is a tiny number 10. It's got a 50-pound test breaking strain, so no problem with that. I'm going to go through here. I'm going to put it right down by the spoon. I might be able to zoom in and show you what's called a haywire twist. So what you do is you just put your wire through there, leave, I'm going to say 1.5 inches, something like that. That's all you need. And I'm going to start bending it, overlapping at a few degrees, just off 90 degrees. It has to be equal either side. I don't know if you can see that there. Equal either side. You'll find it easier just to hold that with a pair of long nose pliers like that, okay? I'll move it across there, you've got it now. So you can see it's sort of 90 degrees but split apart. So you just rotate this. I'm going to do say 4. I'd use more if I was, it's a saltwater rig, this one. Then this piece of wire I'm going to bring up, move my pliers to the base like that, and then I'm going to go parallel touching turns just around here. It's a very, very quick one to do under normal circumstances, but when you're trying to film and hold everything in the frame of the camera, this range is pretty tricky. Hopefully you're going to see that there. Now you can cut that off, but if you do cut it off with a pair of snippers, you're going to be left with a tag end. That's there. You see the tag end? So what we normally would do, it would normally be sticking up like it is just here, there, 90 degrees. We would bend that over at 90 degrees there, grip it like this, and then just rotate this backwards and forwards out, and it's popped off. Now the reason I've done that, do not lose the tag end, I'm going to put it there, is because that now has no tag end to it. Look, doesn't catch my skin or anything, so there's no tag end. So that's called a haywire twist. Well, you can find a split ring, or you can buy a split ring. I've got loads of keys left over. I'm just looking for a small split ring like that. All these are old keys. I figure I've used some of these keys as weights as well. I could use one of these, and that goes in the top of the spoon. Right. Okay, so you can use any type of link swivel. I've got my 2 split rings there, off the key rings. I'm going to be using one of these. It's more for the film than anything else. And then I just do exactly the same principle. of the haywire twist. Goes through here. This is for the pike. You can use a soft trace if you want. I just happen to be using this one. This wire. Bend it around. Same thing as before. I use pliers, just long nose pliers, just to start me off there. About 4 turns. Bring it round square. Push over 90 degrees. I put the pliers right by the edge. Roll it around. Let's say another 4 times. This is with single strand wire. Obviously, you know, you can knot soft wire or you can crimp it, whatever you fancy. I'm just using this one. Turn it 90 degrees and bend the tip 90 degrees. Hold it there and you just rock it backwards and forwards and bing, 4 rocks, it's gone. So I've got my trace there. Pull that camera back. There's my trace from a clip. So all remains now on this end. Pretty easy to make, aren't they, really? On goes my split ring. On this end goes the other split ring. I can use these sea fishing for place as well, not just pike fishing, predator fishing. Okay, so there we go. There's my, I'm going to call that my spinner. It's actually a spoon, doesn't spin, it flashes and twists around. Then I put my hook on the bottom. I can just change weight of spoons if I want to, like that. And for treble hooks, I'm going to be using a hook that you might not have seen before. A partridge grey shadow. Hugh Fawkes. Hugh Fawkes is a famous, very famous sea trout fisherman. This is called a hold-fast out-barb treble hook. Size 4. It's a knife flaw finish. I've used knife flaw hooks before. These packets will be collector's pieces now. As you can see that treble there. That is a very, very strong treble. Very strong. And out barbs. Let me just rest it like that. Let's see if I can zoom in for you. Something a bit different that probably people might not have seen before. Now, if I just zoom in here, I've no idea what the focal length is going to be on this camera. You might just be able to see in the bottom here, there, against my finger, there. It's called an out barb. The barb is on the outside of the hook. Can you see that? I'll see if I can go in a bit closer. You should just be able to see, there, now you can see it, against my finger. It's an out barb, there. Treble. Something a little bit different. And got good gripping power as well. So let's pop one of those on. So all I'm going to do now is open up the split ring without breaking my nail, hopefully, and slide that hook, just roll it around. There we go, guys. Now you can rig this either way, that end or this end, makes no difference depending on what action you want. I just pull back there. And the other thing that I'm going to add to this is this. As you can see, we call these a muppet. I don't know where they're made or even where they come from. But they do have a little hole in the side there. So they would ordinarily, you put a jig head through there and it would spread through on the jig head. Okay, but I'm going to snip a hole across the top here, take the treble off, and then I can, well in fact I can use this, look. I can just take the end off there. That's all I need. Let's take that hook back off there. It's just going to be a little bit of extra movement. There's plenty of movement with the flash of the spoon, don't get me wrong. And I'm going to make one of the teaspoons up as well. So that's going to go right inside here. And get him open. Bit of a fiddle, because some of these plastics, if you leave them in the wrong containers, will tend to stick together. So a little bit of spit there. That will push through on there. It's all good fun, people. It's all good fun. You can make your own lures up. I could also get some new nails. I need the wife for this. Now I've lost the end of the eye. There we go. I think we got it now. We're cooking on gas. There we go, that's totally on. That will give a little bit extra action there in the waters, you can see that, as well as the flash. So it is a finished spoon with a trace on it, and I can just take it off and change it. So I'm going to make up the same thing, drilled here, drilled there, so it's what I call a rigid lure. A rigid lure is fixed rigidly, but you can also make one where it spins and has a wider revolving pattern. We use this for place fishing a lot, and you'll get other species at sea as well. That's a sort of freshwater pike one. Let's make up the teaspoon in the same manner. Okay, there we've got two different sizes, the teaspoon and the tablespoon. I'm now going to show you one that revolves, can be used sea fishing for place or indeed for pike and other predators as well. And that's just with a single hole. Okay, for this one, single hole through the top of the teaspoon there, it's a small teaspoon. I've got my single strand wire trace. Up here I've got my swivel. Onto that I'm going to slide a bead, just a regular bead. Now that is so the actual spoon, when you cast, has something to pull against, something to spin against there. And then I'm going to lock that with a shot here. And you can put this at whatever you want. Don't squeeze this one too hard to start with, just like that. So you'll get the principle of it now, like that. And this just spins like this, because it revolves all the way round. Okay, then I'm going to put my treble hook on the back here. And use one of these knife flaw sea trout trebles. Collector's pieces, I shouldn't be using them. So you know I've left this way up here at the moment, so that's just giving me space to tie this on. This one I've made is a fixed rig, if you like, so the trace is on there permanently. Because I'm just going to be using it the once. Well, not just the once. Now, the reason I didn't pinch that shot tight there is because, look, I can slide that down here and then slide my spoon, my teaspoon down there, as close or as far from the hook as I want. I could still put one of these little muppets on there if I wanted to. And I'm guessing I'm going to say, just going to straighten that wire there. You can use cable, you can do this with cable wire, entirely what you want. So I'm going to slide that down. I'm trying to think where you want space for that to spin. There's a spinning blade. That looks about good to me. So any pike's going to grab, bang, like that. It's going to come up against that treble. And then when this spins, like this, it's going to spin away from the outside of the treble. You know, you can sort of measure from there. If you look at what I've done is, when I'm going to pinch this down in a second, measure that edge of that blade to the edge of the hook there, so that when he does grab it, that's clear. So I'm going to be shutting that down there now, tight. Oh, that's better. So that there, the finished rig. Should spin like that, and if the pike hits, the blade is just away from the point of the hook. You don't want it so it's right over the top of the hook, because you might just get a bang and miss the fish. Going to do the same, and this will be a new one for me, with the soup spoon. We'll make that a revolving blade. That same principle you can use for place fishing, and it's really, really good, especially with a plastic picnic spoon. Okay, here is the soup spoon. But as you can see, what I've done there, I've spaced out, instead of putting the shot there, I'll put some extra bling in there, some extra colour. So that also gives me spacing beads to put that blade wherever I want to put it. So as well as that, being able to spin like that, I'm going to get one of these worms. You must have seen these. I'm just going to snip off the end. And I'm just going to nick it on one of the hooks. because they've got a barb on them, they're out barbs these, and that just gives it in the water quite a bit more. Let's move that back for you. Quite a bit more colour, a bit more oomph. As you can see, I can spin that, look, really fast. And it's got that twisty tail there, look. I cannot see that one failing, I really cannot see. I can see the soup spoon is going to serve me up a pike. Anyway, something else I can tell you. Got some of these from marlin fishing times when I used to make up my own marlin lures. Witch light decorator tape, a prismatic adhesive tape, which we used to put around the neck of the marlin lure, but which you can actually cut into small circles or even squares and decorate your lure in addition, just like this. Judge the size of your lure, judge what size eye you want, and it's really a bit like cutting out things when I was kids, isn't it? Sticky things, you know, you used to cut and paste and that sort of thing. You can put on what you want. If you're going spinning and you're going to go for perch, I would strongly recommend the use of the colour red. That one can go on there. I think maybe. Let's try a red one on the outside. We can put, as a for instance, green eye on the inside, and maybe, see that there, about there. Now, who knows what that looks like to a predator? Let's pull it back. It looks like yummy to me as a lure fisherman, doesn't it? Homemade, piece of cutlery, and finally, you want to add some weight to it. You might think perhaps there's not enough weight to it, right? No problem. Get yourself either some lead wire or some solder wire, and you can wrap a little piece around up here if you wanted, just to give it a little bit of extra casting weight. I would tend to do it, let's do it with this solder wire, it's probably better for you to see actually. We take the lure off a second, make life easier for me. Okay, you can see what I've done. I lay it flat along the edge there, take it down to the end and then just whip down a few turns and then come back up again. As neat or as bodgy as you want. Just hold that corner there. And you can undo this, put it on. It doesn't make any difference at all, does it really? Easy to do. Solder wire or lead wire gives you that extra bit of casting weight. So there you go, a little bit of weight there. Just pop your lure back on, and you are indeed ready to rock and roll there. There's the weight. You can put quite a lot on if you want, but that, don't forget this metal, so that's going to sink as well. So there is a commercial lure. Here is, oh my God, put it there, a teaspoon or tablespoon handle, a teaspoon handle, and another teaspoon handle. So, literally 3 items of cutlery have given me 6 lures. Does it get any better than that? Well boys, nothing else to do with these puppies except add water. Let's get out there somewhere and see if we can't catch something. Well, at least I can afford to lose them now. It's half the wife's cutlery. I've no idea, obviously, whether it's snaggy here. That's my only thing. I was getting a couple of bumps on another lure, and I thought, you know, I wonder if there's perch just alongside of this edge of the wall here. I think it's about 4 or 5 feet deep here. I'm not sure, to be honest. It's a bit strange. You don't know it. The gentleman just come up and he said, you know, they do get fry here, but that's weed. That's what I'll be careful of. It's spinning really well. I think it's spinning better because I'm on single strand wire. He said this stretch below this sluice area is tidal. I'm just about to move and go upstream, and I'm going to tell you now, I'm not a lover of these sort of drainy type long straight things. It's like canals. I'm not really a lover of canals. I always find it difficult locating fish. It's fine if you're a local. If you're local, no problem. Oh, I know where to go, mate. Yeah, I caught loads there. Yeah, but you live there. I've driven, you know, 2 3/4 hours. Nobody to ask. There's nobody walking around. Just one dog walker that just said, you know, it's tidal. Upstream's not. Although there's only a drop in that sluice. I assume they're all automatic, those sluices. Still got one eye on the weather though. Spinning like a good one, this. This is the homemade teaspoon. Look at this. Look at that. Just like olden times, it still works. People don't believe it, it does still work. Look, a teaspoon, a shot, and a nice perch there. Look, it's only a fun fish. Of course it's a fun fish, that's all it is. But there we go. It works. A perch. That's years since I've done that with a teaspoon. I've got to try the other ones as well, but obviously perch or shoalfish, might be a chance for another one. Got a fish on, guys. I just got the net a bit farther back here. Hang on a second. He's gone right in the rush. It's a good chance going to lose him. He's buried me. Small pike. There he goes. There he goes. He's going for the rushes, and I got. He's in. I had my chance. I've had my chance. Oh, might have. I think I got him out. I think I got him out. There we go. Oh no, he's in. He's out. He's out. I've got him. I've got a pike on my spoon. What can I do? Not a big pike, but I'm happy with that. And look at that teaspoon. He just nailed it. He's got a little bit of a nick on the back. Don't know if that's something else that's had him. Well, 10,000 casts. It's really took me in close, and it slack lined me. Actually slack lined me. Yeah. There's a floater. He goes wham, 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 wham. I came back and I thought, that's a totally different river. That's because the tide's come in. Oh, X marks the spot. It's got to be a fish here, surely. I'm on, guys. Long cast. I'm not so stupid that I don't bring a little folded umbrella. Let's cast on straight on, guys. I'm straight on again. The teaspoon's going away for a while, guys.